Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? I want to talk a little bit more about the idea of having a campaign or a world, and we're talking fantasy here for the most part, where magic is something which is just a dangerous, horrible force, where you're scared to death if you know that there are magic users in the world, as James says in this book. And if you know where one is, you should be absolutely petrified. Now, to me, I did a review on this book just a day or two ago, and the core of this book really isn't the bizarre spells in here, and that they can only be cast by women, and some of the darker tone. I mean, if you like that, that's cool. I like it sometimes. It's more the magic system itself and the little primer on magic he goes into here, and I'll quote a couple of parts. But he's certainly not the only person that's thought about this. And I find it more and more compelling in my older age to play fantasy, play a fantasy game where magic is something that's just completely bizarre. And I'm less interested these days in playing in like Happy Magic Land, where there's wizards and they can cast these spells and that they're accepted parts of society. I like the idea that it's these are people that are toying with things that should not be toyed with. They're people that are completely outside the norm. They're people that completely rejected society, and have become so entranced, so addicted to this otherworldly power that they've kind of given up on morals. And they're people that have kind of, gone round the twist. When a player declares that they want to be a magic user, we're all rolling 3d6 or 46 or whatever we're doing. We're making our characters, how we're going to create them. The player says, yeah, I think I'm going to play a magic user. I like the idea of playing a game where the game master and all the other players at the table just kind of stop and back away a little bit and like, are you sure that's what's going to happen? And kind of cross themselves or whatever other symbol they want to use. Like, oh man, I like that idea. And the system in this book kind of, enforces that. The idea that now all these spells are kind of on the table. And realistically, he even goes into detail here. He's talking about the same thing I have. Well, a lot of times we're just not going to have as much time to play. Who wants to have a list of spells in the book that are all just kind of theoretical? Maybe one day you can get there. You put them all on the table. And of course there's a lot of risk involved with that. And there's a whole miscast table. And things can go horribly, horribly wrong. And some of the miscasts are dependent on the spell itself. And you have to make some of that up. And some of them are just these really horrific things at the very end. So when somebody declares, I'm going to cast a spell now, everybody should kind of, be wondering, as he says in there, that, we should be rolling up new characters now. The game master should be kind of like doing like, oh man, I like that. I like that kind of vibe. What it reminds me is like Black Company. We don't have wizards in there that are from Happy Magic Land. We've got Goblin and One Eye. And they don't cast magic very often, but when they do, it can be really bizarre and creepy and powerful. And just that to me feels more magic. That feels more, strange and unusual and bizarre and frankly quite scary. Can be really useful, but boy, could it be scary. Boy, could things go really, really wrong. Goes well, it could go really, really well. Goes wrong, it could go really, really wrong. That is exciting to me. I like the idea of playing in a world like that, in a game like that. And there's a couple great quotes in here. Which I'm going to try to find here. He said, we're simply going to call them magic users, not wizards or anything like that. It goes, it's a nice, simple term to describe malicious agents wielding corrosive power. And there's another line in here later on. And he's like, abuse of these spells will cause repercussions in the setting itself, or use of the spells could cause it. And that's what magic should be. Magic users and their players are monsters, without exception. I just love that vibe, It doesn't mean the game has to be completely unfun and we're going to be rolling up new characters all the time, but just the idea that, like, should a wizard be introduced into the campaign via non-player character or player character, it should be something that could give everybody a little bit of pause. And oh man, this could be crazy. This could be really, really unpredictable and very dangerous. And I don't know about you, but that I find incredibly compelling. I'm really kind of jazzed about playing some games like that rather than the games I'm used to, where regardless of the type of game, it's a little bit more Happy Magic Land. Let's make it a little bit more scary. Holy crap, Goblin and One Eye are going at it again. Let's beat it. What do you think?